You're listening to the Wired for Impact podcast.
You mentioned that this corruption has infiltrated all parts of society. Do you agree that the financial piece, though, is the bedrock of it? If we were to follow the money, quote unquote, back all the way to maybe the source of this corruption, is it not in the financial industry?
I would say financial industry is an incredibly important keystone, if you want to use that arch keystone element. It is incredibly important. The right to issue money should never have been given beyond a government. And unfortunately, we allowed that to happen. And the money issuances can buy off everything from legal systems to health systems to language and education systems to academia that decides what science is the good science and what science is the wrong thing. So the minute you are the creators of money, and I mean, resources were always set out to be captured, and there's a tacit capture. I mean, if you look at Cecil John Rhodes here as an example of case, they monopolize. These aren't capitalists. They sell you capitalism in theory, but in fact, they're communists. Competition is sin is a famous Rockefeller statement. And those of you that have read the history of Rockefeller, it's very much American history. So maybe Cecil John Rhodes is more South African. The equivalent is he cornered the oil industry by hook, crook, violence, corruption, fraud, unfair deals, beneficial transport costs for his oil at the expense of everybody else. Then he crashed the market to make everybody else unprofitable, squeezed them out, buy them out for pennies on the dollar, paid workers with tokens that they had to spend in his store that weren't utilizable in the larger economy, so that he got all the wages back. They had to go to his Rockefeller stores and hand over their essentially food stamps that he gave them. I mean, this is kibbutz communism. This is not capitalism. This happened in America. So I know you'll have a predominant American audience. I'm talking to you guys. This is what happened. And he's the guy who established the United Nations. He's this guy that's behind the World Health Organization. These are the people. These are the structures. They don't do capitalism. They do domination. The right to rule domination, everyone else served them. If they're in the way, crush it. The end justifies the mean. And this is why I started with that Stephen Covey. They have an end in mind. So you must understand what that end in mind is so that you have a better understanding and quantification of what's coming down the chute at you. Because if you can do that, then you can try certain strategies of how to survive such a force. And you saw how coercive they were with regards to the medical emergency that they constructed. People lost jobs for not taking and then now they say, oh, nobody was made to do it, and all of this. Like hell. There were some people that literally had to. People resigned from the military. Now they have to be rehired and they should be paid back pay as far as I'm concerned, all sorts of things. But, that gives you a little bit of an idea. And something people always think is when you're in game theory, if I'm the bad guy, be the devil. You have to be self-aware and be very self-conscious of who you are, and also be able to lift yourself out and be someone who has this psychotic mentality. I don't want fair play. I want to just dominate at any cost. It's worth me killing someone, doing immoral things, if it means I own the game. In that system where they own the game, are they really, if we are rats in the barn, are they really leaving a door open intentionally for some of the rats to survive if they're wanting to burn the barn down? And that's where people go, oh, well, there will be that country or so-and-so will save you. Every political system that has voting is captured. You will have guys that come across good, Elon, to many of us, Putin, for example, captured. They're not going to say, okay, we'll let 5% of the rats escape to the other silo where the wheat is. They're coming to clear the rats out. To them, we are the rats, the pests. And there's too much of us and they want less of it. And AI and automation is their new game that now sees them escalate. So it's not accidental. You must get used to being suspicious of too many coincidences. It's not accidental as technology peaks into artificial intelligence, automation, and robotics, that you're getting these major advancements. And you see the videos with these, these soldier robots that are climbing upstairs and carrying a gun with a paintball gun, and these dog robots. If you think that's good news for you, I've got something coming, because they aren't going to be owned by you and they aren't going to be run by you. I mean, I actually have a drone and I like to do photography and do follow me when I'm on my e-bike and various other things. But the real drone use is your statism, and it's against you. There is a war going on, and they have weaponized against you, and most people don't even realize you're in a war. You don't win a war when your citizens don't even realize that they're in a war, and they're preparing for war, and they have all the tools, all the money, and they are taking your tax dollars to fund them for those tools in AI and robotics. And that is why I also feel we've seen this chronic loss of population as a result of this event in March 2020. If you aren't suspicious after the events of March 2020, you are a proper sleeper. You are comatose. You are an NPC person in this game. I know that sounds dismissive and almost arrogant and maybe a bit rude, but you are sleepwalking. And I don't tend to put time in it. I like the people that are saying there's something that doesn't smell right. I don't expect them to understand and know everything and have read everything. We're all too busy trying to make a living. I'm fortunate that I got to a point where, I'm financially free and I'm doing something I love, and I don't even have to be corporate. I play the fool on my YouTube channel and I make stupid jokes. Some I repeat, some I don't. I don't care too much who people are offended. I want to be exactly the anti-corporate, exactly the everything that they make, I'm the counterparty to. I am the inversion Tony Blair. Everything he says, I say the opposite. I absolutely value and know who is totally co-opted and what agendas they pushed. And I often wait for them to speak to confirm my suspicions. And, that's where we are. And entrepreneurs are smart people. They tend to have an emotional. Your audience has got a large entrepreneurial amount. Some people will resent the cut of my jib and what I'm saying, but I expect the bulk of the people, some of the best people are property investors, run their own business. They understand street smarts. They understand they're less prone to being completely asleep. Some of them, say there's a lot that doesn't smell right. We just had the New Zealand guy who analyzed the stats, and he was the sole database administrator. And he gave by batch number and by vaccinator the number of deaths so far, not injuries. People that you've literally got a death certificate, they were gone after what happened. And I mean, you're talking 21% on some of these people. And that's, hey, never mind, it doesn't talk about who got a turbo cancer and is busy battling and having half their mouth chopped out because they've got a lymphoma under their tongue or anything like that. That's not being captured. Quality of life. So, I mean, that attack vector, that was an attack vector on humanity that affected friends, humans, family members, etc. It was directly addressed to you. If you don't realize you have to be smart and wise in the ways of the world, from that single thing, then you're never going to realize it. And I'm here to try not only help my community build wealth, but retain that wealth in a reset environment, which is totally different to what traditional financial advisory people will do, which will put you in a pension, which is stuffed with bonds and debt, which is exactly the wrong positioning for what we're doing, but also to keep them alive, to keep you alive, keep you sane, to keep you happy, and to keep you anti-cyber, and to build your wealth. And actually, there will still be immense opportunities. The crazy thing is, in mega wars, many people have built big wealth, and they aren't all being co-opted into the cult, if you want to call it. So there is real opportunities, but you have to be prepared to try understand a really complex octopus of many tentacles system. And I spare no doubt. I like it. I want to know, because I am inherently a deep, dark truth seeker. I can take it. I don't care how dark it gets. I can take it, and I'll sleep at night, because I understand it's not me. It's not my party. There's only so much I can do but that doesn't matter. I don't get furiously angry about various things that are going on in the world, but then I channel that and I release it, and that's where it goes, into the big old ocean when I greet the sun, and then I do my best to be the best person I can be.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wired for Impact. If you're interested in creating and expanding your impact, be sure to visit us online at impactnow.com.